In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the surface of the deep waters. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and light appeared. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. He called the light day, and the darkness night. Evening passed, and morning came, the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters above from the waters below." So God made the space and separated the waters. God called the space sky. Evening passed, and morning came, the second day. God said, "Let the waters under the sky be gathered into one place, so dry ground can appear." And it happened. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters seas. And he saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, plants bearing seeds and trees bearing fruit with seeds in it." The land did as God commanded. Plants and trees grew, each producing seeds according to their kind. And God saw that it was good. Evening passed, and morning came, the third day. God said, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night, to mark seasons, days, and years, and to give light to the earth." So God made the sun to rule the day and the moon to rule the night. He also made the stars. He placed these lights in the sky to shine on the earth and to govern the day and night. And God saw that it was good. Evening passed, and morning came, the fourth day. God said, "Let the waters be filled with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth." So God created the great sea creatures and every kind of living thing that moves in the water and every kind of bird. He saw that it was good. Then he blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the seas and the sky." Evening passed, and morning came, the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth produce every kind of animal, livestock, small creatures, and wild animals." And it was so. God made them, each according to its kind, and he saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make humans in our image, to be like us. Let them rule over the fish, the birds, the livestock, all the wild animals, and everything that crawls on the earth." So God created humans in his image. He created them male and female. Then God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and govern it. Rule over the fish, birds, and all animals." God said, "Look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant and every tree with fruit for food, and I have given every green plant to the animals and birds for food." And it was so. God looked over all he had made, and it was very good. Evening passed, and morning came, the sixth day. So the heavens and the earth were completed. On the seventh day, God finished his work and rested. He blessed the seventh day and made it holy because he rested from all his creating. This is the story of the creation of the heavens and the earth. Before any plants or herbs had grown, the Lord God had not yet sent rain, and there was no one to farm the land. But a mist came up from the earth and watered the ground. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. God planted a garden in the east, in a place called Eden, and he placed the man there. He made all kinds of beautiful trees grow there, some good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and it split into 4 rivers. The first was called Pishon, winding through the land of Avila, where there was good gold, aromatic resin, and onyx. The second was Gihon, flowing through the land of Cush. The third was the Tigris, flowing east of Assyria. The fourth was the Euphrates. The Lord God placed the man in the garden to care for it and work it. He told him, "You may eat freely from any tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from it, you will surely die." Then the Lord said, "It's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper who is right for him." God formed all the animals and birds from the ground and brought them to the man to see what he would name them. The man named all the animals, but none of them were a suitable helper. So the Lord caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. While he slept, God took one of the man's ribs and closed the wound. From the rib, he made a woman and brought her to the man. The man said, "At last, this one is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She will be called woman, because she was taken out of man. This is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united with his wife, and they become one." The man and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. Now the serpent was more cunning than any other wild animal the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you can't eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman replied, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God said not to eat or touch the tree in the middle, or we will die." The serpent said, "You won't die. God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The woman saw that the tree looked good, pleasing to the eye, and desirable for gaining wisdom. She took some of the fruit and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, and he ate it too. Then their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together to make coverings for themselves. Later, they heard the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid among the trees. But the Lord called to the man, "Where are you?" The man replied, "I heard you in the garden and was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God said, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree I told you not to eat from?" The man said, "The woman you gave me. She gave me the fruit, and I ate it." Then God asked the woman, "What have you done?" She said, "The serpent tricked me, and I ate." So the Lord said to the serpent, "Because you did this, you are cursed more than all animals. You will crawl on your belly and eat dust all your life. I will create hostility between you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." To the woman, he said, "I will increase your pain in childbirth. You will desire your husband, and he will rule over you." To the man, he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the forbidden tree, the ground is cursed because of you. All your life, you'll struggle to grow food. It will produce thorns and thistles, and you will eat by the sweat of your brow until you return to the ground, because from it you were taken. You are dust, and to dust you will return." Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all living. The Lord God made clothes from animal skins for Adam and Eve. Then he said, "The man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not eat from the tree of life and live forever." So God banished them from the Garden of Eden to work the land they came from. He placed mighty angels at the east of the garden and a flaming sword that moved back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Adam and Eve had a son named Cain. Later, they had another son, Abel. Abel became a shepherd, taking care of flocks, while Cain worked the soil as a farmer. One day, Cain brought an offering to God from the fruits of his harvest. Abel also brought an offering, his best lambs and the fat portions from his flock. God looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but not on Cain's. This made Cain very angry, and his face showed it. Then God said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why are you downcast? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you don't, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to control you, but you must master it." Later, Cain invited Abel to go out to the field. While they were there, Cain attacked his brother and killed him. God asked Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain replied, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But God said, "What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the earth that opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood. When you work the land, it will no longer yield crops for you. You will wander the earth, a restless fugitive." Cain said to God, "My punishment is more than I can bear. You have driven me from the land and hidden your face from me. I will be a wanderer, and anyone who finds me might kill me." But God replied, "No, whoever kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over." And he put a mark on Cain to protect him, so no one would harm him. Then Cain left God's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain had a son named Enoch and built a city, which he named after his son. Generations passed. Enoch fathered Irad. Irad fathered Mehujael, who fathered Methuselah, who fathered Lamech. Lamech had 2 wives, Adah and Zillah. Adah gave birth to Jabal, the first to live in tents and raise livestock. His brother Jubal was the first musician, playing the harp and flute. Zillah gave birth to Tubal-Cain, who forged tools from bronze and iron. She also had a daughter named Naamah. One day, Lamech said to his wives, "I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times." Adam and Eve had another son and named him Seth. Eve said, "God has given me another child in place of Abel, since Cain killed him." Seth later had a son named Enosh, and it was during this time that people began to call on the name of the Lord. This is the record of the descendants of Adam. When God created humanity, He made them in His own image. He created them male and female, blessed them, and called them human on the day they were created. Adam was 130 years old when he had a son in his likeness and image. He named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived another 800 years and had other sons and daughters. In total, Adam lived 930 years, and then he died. Seth was 105 years old when he had a son named Enosh. After that, Seth lived 807 more years and had other sons and daughters. He lived a total of 912 years, and then he died. Enosh was 90 years old when he had a son named Kenan. Afterward, Enosh lived 815 more years and had other children. He lived a total of 905 years, and then he died. Kenan was 70 when he had Mahalalel. Afterward, he lived another 840 years and had more sons and daughters. He lived 910 years, and then he died. Mahalalel was 65 when he had Jared. He lived another 830 years and had more children. He lived 895 years, and then he died. Jared was 162 when he had Enoch. After Enoch's birth, Jared lived 800 more years and had other sons and daughters. Jared lived 962 years, and then he died. Enoch was 65 years old when he had Methuselah. After that, he walked closely with God for 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Enoch lived a total of 365 years. But unlike the others, Enoch didn't die because he walked faithfully with God, and one day, God simply took him away. Methuselah was 187 when he had Lamech. He lived 782 more years and had other children. Methuselah lived 969 years, the longest of all, and then he died. Lamech was 182 years old when he had a son and named him Noah. He said, "This child will bring us comfort from the painful labor of working the ground that God has cursed." After Noah's birth, Lamech lived 595 more years and had other children. He lived 777 years in all, and then he died. When Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. As people began to multiply across the earth, daughters were born to them. The sons of God saw how beautiful the daughters of humans were, and they chose wives for themselves from among them. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not remain with humanity forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be limited to 120 years. During those days, and even after, the earth was populated by giants, known as the Nephilim. These were the heroes of old, legendary men of great renown. But the Lord saw how great the wickedness of people had become. Every thought, every intention of their hearts was constantly evil. This broke God's heart. He regretted that he had made humanity, and he was deeply grieved. So the Lord said, "I will wipe humanity off the face of the earth. People, animals, creeping things, and even the birds of the air. I'm sorry I made them." But there was one man who found favor with God, Noah. This is the story of Noah. He was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. He walked closely with God. He had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But the earth had become corrupt in God's eyes. Everywhere he looked, there was violence. Humanity had ruined the earth. So God said to Noah, "I have decided to put an end to all living creatures. The earth is filled with violence because of them. I'm going to destroy them along with the earth. Build an ark for yourself from cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside now. Here is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Put a roof on it, and finish the ark to within a cubit from the top. Put a door on the side, and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I'm going to bring a great flood to destroy all life under heaven. Everything on the earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you. You will enter the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Bring into the ark 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Birds, animals, and all creatures that move along the ground. 2 of every kind will come to you to be kept alive. Also, gather enough food for you and for them." And Noah did everything exactly as God commanded him. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark with your whole family, because I have found you to be righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate. Also take 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to preserve their species on the earth. In 7 days, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living thing I have made. Noah did everything just as the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters came upon the earth. He and his wife, his sons, and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, birds, and creatures that move along the ground came to Noah and entered the ark, just as God had commanded. 7 days later, the floodwaters came upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, all the springs of the great deep burst open, and the windows of the heavens were opened. Rain poured down on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day, Noah and his family entered the ark. Noah, his wife, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. With them went every kind of wild animal, livestock, crawling creature, and bird, every creature that had the breath of life in it. They entered in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded. Then the Lord shut the door behind them. For 40 days, the flood kept coming on the earth. The waters rose and lifted the ark high above the ground. The ark floated on the surface of the water as it covered everything. The waters increased and covered the highest mountains under the entire sky. The floodwaters rose more than 20 feet above the mountains. Every living thing that moved on the earth perished. Birds, livestock, wild animals, all creatures that swarm over the earth, and all of humanity. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. God wiped out every living thing on the face of the earth. People, animals, creatures that move along the ground, and the birds of the sky. Only Noah and those with him in the ark survived, and the waters flooded the earth for 150 days. But God remembered Noah and all the animals and birds that were with him in the ark. He sent a wind over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The underground springs were closed, and the skies stopped pouring rain. Gradually, the waters retreated from the earth. After 150 days, they had gone down significantly. On the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to go down until the 10th month, and on the first day of that month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 more days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ark and released a raven. It flew back and forth until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the waters had receded from the land. But the dove found no place to land because water still covered the ground. So it returned to Noah in the ark. Noah reached out his hand, brought the dove back inside, and waited 7 more days. He sent the dove out again. This time, the dove came back in the evening with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. Then Noah knew the water was going down. He waited another 7 days and sent the dove out again, but this time it didn't return. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah removed the covering from the ark and saw that the ground was drying. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife, your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature with you, the birds, animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can spread out on the earth and be fruitful and multiply." So Noah came out, along with his family and all the animals. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord. He took some of the clean animals and birds and offered them as burnt offerings. When the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, he said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground because of humans, even though every thought in their heart is bent toward evil from childhood. And I will never again destroy all living things as I have done, as long as the earth remains. Seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Then God blessed Noah and his sons and said, "Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. All the animals on earth, all the birds in the sky, every creature that moves on the ground, and all the fish in the sea, they will fear you and be placed under your authority. Everything that lives and moves will be food for you. Just as I gave you green plants, now I give you everything. But you must not eat meat that still has lifeblood in it. And I will demand an accounting for the life of every human being. From every animal and from every person, I will require justice. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God, humanity was made. Now be fruitful and multiply. Spread across the earth and fill it." Then God spoke to Noah and his sons, "I am making a covenant with you and your descendants, and with every living creature that came out of the ark, the birds, livestock, and all the wild animals. Never again will I destroy all life with a flood. Never again will a flood cover the entire earth." And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, for generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears, I will remember my promise that the waters will never again become a flood to destroy all life. When the rainbow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between me and all living creatures on the earth." Then God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on earth." After the flood, Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, began to repopulate the earth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the ancestors of all the people on earth. Noah became a man of the soil and planted a vineyard. One day he drank too much wine, became drunk, and lay uncovered inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and went out to tell his brothers. But Shem and Japheth took a garment, walked in backward, and covered their father without looking at him. When Noah woke up and found out what Ham had done, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, he will be a servant to his brothers." Then he blessed Shem. "May the Lord, the God of Shem, be praised, and may Canaan be his servant." And he said, "May God extend the territory of Japheth. May he dwell in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be his servant." Noah lived 350 years after the flood. He lived a total of 950 years, and then he died. This is the story of the families that came from Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, after the flood. They each had sons, and from them, the nations of the world spread out. Japheth's sons were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. Gomer's sons were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. Javan's sons were Elishah, Tarshish, the Kittites, and the Rodanites. From these, the maritime people spread out into their lands, each with their own language, clan, and nation. Ham's sons were Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. Cush's sons were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteka. Rama his sons were Sheba and Dedan. Cush had a son named Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, and people used to say, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first centers of his kingdom were Babylon, Uruk, Akkad, and Calneh and Shinar. From that land, he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Rezin, which lies between Nineveh and Calah. Egypt was the ancestor of the Ludites, Anamites, Leabites, Naphtuhites, Pathrusites, Keslahites, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorites. Canaan's sons were Sidon, his firstborn, and Hate. From him also came the Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Later, the Canaanite tribe spread out. Their territory stretched from Sidon to Gerar near Gaza, then towards Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These were the descendants of Ham by their clans, languages, lands, and nations. Sons were also born to Shem, the older brother of Japheth and the ancestor of all the children of Eber. Shem's sons were Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. Aram's sons were Uzi, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons. One was named Peleg, because in his time the earth was divided. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan's sons were Almadad, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimel, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were sons of Joktan. They lived in the eastern region, from Mesha towards Sephar in the eastern hill country. These are the descendants of Shem, listed by their clans, languages, territories, and nations. These are the families of Noah's sons, according to their family lines and nations. From them, the nations spread out over the earth after the flood.